BSTN.
Oh, hey there, and welcome back to SaaS Center. I'm your host, Job Rones. Our top story, Atlassian, who just spent $610 million on the browser company makers of Arc and Dia, $610 million USD, I believe. That's 9 digits for a browser. And you know what? We get it. Look at those clean interfaces, those gorgeous tab management features, that AI integration, the way it organizes tabs into spaces, the fact that it's not Google, the lack of ads, the fact that Jenny Garchua was talking about it on her show This Week in RevOps. We're not saying that we're attracted to software, and by we, I mean me. But this is a nice ass.
Nice sass.
And Dia, don't even get us started on Dia. AI-powered, chat first, understands context across tabs. It's like the Gen Z version of Arc. Younger, smarter, more hip, trendy, maybe went to an Ivy League school. Trust fund, baby, after the $610 million, yeah. Together, they're building the browser for knowledge work in the AI era. That's not just marketing speak, that's vision. Here's what makes this acquisition really work. Atlassian CEO knows what's up. Recently quoted as saying, "Today's browsers weren't built for work, they were built for browsing." No shit. Also, bingo. Your sales rep has 47 tabs open. Each one is a task, a deal, a workflow, documentation, for God's sakes. The browser isn't a tool anymore. It is the workplace. The browser first movement just got a $610 million validation stamp. Chrome extensions like Supered, which is better than Tango, but that's a separate topic, are browser native tools, process enforcement where work is actually happening. This isn't a side bet anymore. It's the main event. And Atlassian is all in. So yeah, nice ass, Arc. Very nice ass indeed.
Nice sass.
Up next, Brandon Brown, CEO of Search Party, posted on LinkedIn that HubSpot stock is down 30% year to date, and he's losing faith. No longer wanting to be an evangelist after 5 years in the HubSpot ecosystem. The usual SaaS echo chamber of responses was actually mixed, but very much pro HubSpot, with Connor Jeffers coming in with an absolute zinger. See you back in 6 months when you realize ADIO isn't a real CRM. Well done. Even Dharmesh chimed in with an absolutely goated response, very respectful and direct. Yes, unfortunately, Brandon Brown is giving up on HubSpot. Can't believe it. Is it because their stock's down 30%? Is it because Brandon didn't want to build a few custom objects? Is it because the vibes are just off? Is it time to panic? No, all wrong. Here's what the fearmongers won't tell you. Apparently, ADIO gives discounts for bashing HubSpot on LinkedIn. Well, that's hilarious, but likely not true. And this is a news station, by God. What is true is that HubSpot launched Data Hub recently at their Fall Spotlight, a product designed to solve the unstructured data problem that's been plaguing CRMs for decades, basically as long as they've been around. They announced 200 plus new AI features. They're not dying, they're evolving. Then there's the recent MIT study showing 95% of AI implementations fail. Cool. So, HubSpot, buy, sell, panic, AI, what's going on here? I'd say that 95% of companies are failing with AI because it's so damn new, and only slightly less than that, than the 100% of companies that are failing at getting people to actually use the CRM correctly. Here's the neuroscience angle. Dr. Daniel Willingham's cognitive load theory explains why most AI tools fail. People can't process complexity without structure. Guess what Data Hub's supposed to do? Yeah, HubSpot is betting on structured AI with Data Hub. Clean data, unified context, that's not failure, that's strategy. So, while we hate to see people like Brandon panic and sell and leave and put their trust elsewhere, like an ADIO, here's investing advice. Buy. HubSpot's down 30%. It's not a warning, that's a freaking discount. Companies that survive AI aren't the ones hyping it, and they're not the talking heads. They're the ones building it. Remember when everyone thought Amazon was done in 2001? Yeah, me neither, because I was 7. Well, it's time to appease the people who write my paycheck, which means it's time for our first commercial break. Have you ever wondered what sales success smells like? Now you don't have to wonder any longer with this new cologne by Super. Take a sniff.
If destiny cold called you, would you answer me? What is a circle? It is complete. It is infinite. It is perfect. What is back? It is return. It is promise.
I don't chase deals. They orbit me.
Alignment. Synergy. Optimization. Powered by A and I. Circle Bach. The fragrance of following up. By Supered.
Welcome back to SaaS Center. I'm your host, Little Mermaid. We have a Salesforce update. You know what that means? It's time for, AI oops.
When the prompt is good, but the output's poop, it's AI, oops.
Well, old Mark's got another announcement. AI is doing 50% of Salesforce's work now. 50 freaking percent. So naturally, Salesforce is a ghost town now, right? Tumbleweeds rolling through the offices. Nope. They cut support roles from 9,000 to 5,000 because, and I quote, I need less heads. Coming from the same guy, the charmer, Mark, that didn't mention the word admin in his keynote. Very human. Here's where the math gets really fun then. Salesforce is still hiring. They're just hiring for different roles. AI is doing the work. It frees up humans to do other work. It's almost like work expands to fill available time and competency. Someone should write a law about that. They did. Wait, yeah, it's called Parkinson's Law. And here's the neuroscience kicker. Dr. Robert Bjork's research shows humans are terrible at routine tasks, but excellent at novel problem solving. So what's happening? AI handles the routine, the mundane. Humans handle the weird edge cases AI can't touch. It's not replacement, it's specialization. Ooh, and Halloween is tomorrow. Scary as hell. So technically, this isn't an AI oops because AI failed. It's an oops because we're all pretending 50% of work disappearing means 50% of the people also disappear. That's not how any of this works. It's just how Mark wants his earnings call to sound. Next quarter, Mr. Benioff will announce AI writes 80% of his keynotes. We're not convinced a human ever did. Now we go to our enablement meteorologist, Ed Education, for a look at training retention rates in this week's 5Cast. Thank you for that. I am Education. Good evening. We're going to get right into this. Let's take a look at, speaking of my name, let's take a look at some of the training and completion forecasts in B2B SaaS. I got to tell you, it's bleak. Very spooky. Halloween is appropriate for this. Monday, we're seeing completion rates of 94% across the region. Beautiful on the surface, clear skies, sunny. But wait, what's this low pressure system moving here down at the bottom? That's the Ebbinghaus forgetting curve, and we've talked about this before. It's bringing 70% memory loss with it within the first 24 hours. So expect heavy forgetting throughout the day with scattered retention only in the single digits by the following day. Tuesday and Wednesday, forgetting continues as we're showing here. We're tracking a retention cold front actually that's dropping comprehension levels to just below 30% by the end of Wednesday evening and into Thursday. Speaking of prediction and forecasting, Ebbinghaus predicted this in 1885. We need to wake up and listen to this guy. What happens is reps remember just enough to be dangerous to themselves or to other people. So moving on, Thursday, Friday, oh boy, we got problems here. High pressure system of what we call business as usual, which is combining zero reinforcement or spaced retrieval, which is important. And it's a perfect storm brewing for what we call total memory loss, total forgetting, total knowledge loss is a better way to say it. By Friday, Quiller's research shows that we're looking at 84% forgetting rates. Speaking of 84% of your training and enablement budget is down the drain by the weekend. Getting into the weekend, expect continued memory deterioration with a 0% chance of anything useful having coming out of that. Rain Group's extended forecast shows only 33% of organizations will see any training effectiveness for what they're doing. Needs to do something with that. Do I see the irony in the fact that a group called Rain did this and we're doing a forecast? I don't know. I've already forgotten 70% of the joke. Anyway, weekly recap. Completion rates high, as we said. Retention rates catastrophically low. An LMS dashboard showing green, while actual productivity and all of that remains negated, not effective, flat. I've already forgotten about 70% of what this segment has been about, but it's been the same forecast for decades, folks, at this point. We'll send it back to you in studio, and we'll do the same thing next week. Tomorrow's forecast, 100% chance of me cherry picking all the good candy out of my kids' Halloween pumpkin baskets and leaving them about 30%. Stay safe out there trick-or-treating. And now on to something positive. What is this? Something positive. Oh, George Storm, a CRO with a spine, posted something revolutionary this week. Quote, sales is about the small things. You're damn right it is, George. And that's why this story makes the news for our closer of the week segment. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a closer of the week. It's more of a close of the week because of the great story. George Storm, CRO, comes in with a blistering hot take. Sales is about the small things. Wait, that's it? That's all I was missing? Was all the small things? Maybe. I mean, that is it, because in a world where everyone's chasing the AI silver bullet, George and Nicole Nyquist, hopefully I'm pronouncing that right, Nicole, are out here saying, hey, maybe just do the work, be positive about it, even, dare I say, enjoy it. Follow-up emails, thank you notes, remembering a prospect's pain point from 3 months ago, showing up on time, sending a selfie after a deal finally closes. These aren't sexy. They're not powered by AI. They're just boringly and amazingly human. And they work. Here's the neuroscience. Dr. Carol Dweck's growth mindset research shows small, consistent actions build confidence and skill over time. It's not the one heroic act. It's the 47 tiny ones that no one sees. That's what separates closers from clickers. And something about tire kickers. There's a limerick in there somewhere. And here's why this matters for enablement. Your fancy AI sales tool can write that email, but it can't care that the prospect's kid just got into college. Can't remember a joke they shared with you, or that they hate morning calls. Can't be human. Nicole and George get it. Mostly shout out to Nicole for the work and George for the recognition. The human in the loop isn't the bottleneck. The human in the loop is the point. So this week's closer of the week isn't about closing a deal. It's about closing a gap between AI hype and human reality. George and Nicole, both of you. You're the MVPs and you're doing the good work. Keep doing the small things. Nowadays, they're actually the big things. AI could do the small things that mattered. It would have written this segment. It didn't. I did. Small win there. We'll be right back after this commercial from our friends at Superd, who've developed a cure for sales reps suffering from loss of memory-related migraines. If you can't get your sales team to follow or remember a process, try Rep-On. Rep-On, applied directly to your sales team. Rep-On, applied directly to your sales team. Rep-On, applied directly to your sales team. Rep-On, applied directly to your sales team so they follow your sales process. Keep your reps on task and on platform with Rep-On. Welcome back once again to SaaS Center. I am the captain now. Now we're going to attempt a new fast-paced, emphasis on fast-paced segment that features different HubSpot professionals each week, keeping us either up to date with, updates or having a much-needed rant. This might be a combination of both. Joining me this week is founding Profoundly Pro, Chris Carolyn. Chris?
Thanks, Rob. Chris Carolyn here, your profoundly value-first HubSpot coach with first ever edition of HubSpot updates from last week. Next up on the list, something everybody and their mother is excited about, projects inside of HubSpot. How about some multi-account workflows? A powerful update. And that is your minute of HubSpot updates from last week. Back to you, Rob.
Wow, hyperspeed. If you missed any of that or all of it, like I did, you can ask Chris directly what he was talking about, or just check out any of his live shows that run throughout the week. Profoundly.io, thank you for that, Chris. Speaking of things that are scary, like that incredibly fast-paced thing that just happened with the HubSpot updates, Halloween's right around the corner. And you know what's truly terrifying? Not ghosts, not zombies. It's the horrors lurking in your SaaS tech stack. This week on Mount Rushmore, we're carving the 4 spookiest things in SaaS into stone. Grab your candy corn and hold on to your dashboards. This is about to get scary with Mount Rushmore Halloween edition. Tonight, yes, we're immortalizing the 4 spookiest things in SaaS. Forget haunted houses. These nightmares are in your tech stack, in your Slack channels, your dashboards, and in HubSpot or Salesforce right now. Leading us off at number 4, the zombie LMS. It's dead, but it keeps moving. Your LMS shambles through your tech stack, consuming budget, hosting outdated courses from 2019, and tracking completion rates that mean nothing. The training's dead, the content's dead, the annual renewal alive and well at $200,000 a year. It feeds on your budget and never dies. You got a hair from that mustache. Number 3, the ghost lead. Did you hear that? It's a lead with no source attribution, no owner, no contact info. It just appeared in the CRM one day. Nobody knows where it came from. Nobody knows how it got there. Marketing blames sales. Sales blames marketing. And the ghost lead, it's been sitting in your pipeline since Q2 of 24, haunting your conversion metrics, whispering, "Nurture me," into the void. Number 2, the Frankenstein tech stack. It's alive! Is it cobbled together from 47 different tools? Zapier duct tape holding it together. APIs that break every Tuesday. Point solutions for every problem. Nobody knows how it works. The person who built it left the company a year and a half ago, and every new tool you add makes it more unstable. It's a monster of your own creation, and it's coming for your integrations. And the number 1 spookiest thing in SaaS this Halloween, the dashboard that says everything is fine. Yeah. Training completion, 94%. Green. Pipeline coverage, 3x. Green. Activity metrics, all green. But quota attainment, still 50%. Why? MQL to SQL conversion rate. Never heard of her. Churn rate, rising. Revenue, falling or flat. The dashboard says you're winning, but the P&L says you're dying. And nobody knows why. It's the scariest thing in SaaS, the illusion of control while everything slowly falls apart around you. There you have it. Mount Rushmore Halloween edition, 4 monuments to SaaS horror. Since this is a Halloween edition, we'll do some honorable mentions. Honorable mention 1, the forgotten renewal. You forgot to cancel that trial. It auto-renewed. You just paid $5,000 for software no one's ever used. Boo. The quick question Slack message. Honorable mention number 2. It's never quick. It's never just a question. It spawns 17 threads and derails your entire afternoon or week, depending on how unlucky you are. Terrifying. Honorable mention 3, the competitor who just raised $100 million while technically not in your tech stack. The gossip is in your Slack. They had a worse product than you last quarter. This quarter, they've got a war chest and they're coming for your customers. Sleep tight. And happy Halloween, SaaS pros. May your dashboards be honest and your tech stack be stable. The real horror? All of these are based on true stories. Sweet dreams. Well, our final story comes to us from James Ricks from RevHops, and it's the topic of this week's segment, Finally Adopted. This week on Finally Adopted, brought to you by Supered, we're celebrating the RevOps professionals who finally adopted something revolutionary, a life outside work. James Ricks from RevHops shared something beautiful on LinkedIn this week. RevOps pros have side hustles. Imagine that. They're people too. You might not think so, but they definitely are. And these aren't, I sell essential oils on the weekends side hustles. No. These are legit second careers. Wrestling, coaching, creative ventures. One RevOps manager is literally body slamming opponents on Saturday nights after spending all week body slamming dirty CRM data. At Super, we believe process adoption works best when the humans doing the adopting are energized, creative, and whole. So shout out to James Ricks and every RevOps pro out there with a side hustle, a passion project, or a weekend identity that makes them better at what they do Monday through Friday. James, we want to talk to you soon, figure out how things are going. Because as a Super user, as a huge fan of BSTN and SaaS Center, you know it's not just about the tool. It's about the person using it. Unless that person is a tool. But you're not. We just want to confirm that by talking to you, James. And when that person is thriving like James absolutely is, everything else clicks into place. So the next time your RevOps admin seems unusually calm during a data crisis, check their Instagram. They probably won a wrestling match last night. That's balance, babe. Well, tomorrow is Halloween, so stay safe out there while trick-or-treating. Make sure to focus on process enforcement using adoption tools like Super within your HubSpot or Salesforce instance. And
We'll see you next time, next week, Thursday at 1 on SaaS Center. Ooh.
BSTN.
pardon the POV, I'm Rob, and my head hurts today. I stayed up too late watching that baseball game.
What up, everybody? I'm Bolo, and I am here to do some boloing. Excited to be here. Rob Jones.
He just took some free workouts, so this could get interesting quick, but in the interest of saving time, let's get right into it. Topic one, your favorite topic to get spicy about, is sales training a waste if 84% of it is forgotten? Quiller's research, their team just dropped a truth bomb, which I think we already knew from the Ebbinghaus forgetting curve. 84% of sales training is forgotten within 3 months. That's a lot. So why do we keep doing it? Is training fundamentally broken, or are we just implementing it wrong? 2 minutes starts now.
Yeah, training. I think we live in a reality that is no longer true. I think sales enablement, sales training was built for a sales floor that doesn't exist anymore. We used to be in office and you'd have these mosh pits and this, you call it like the pit, and it would be all your salespeople. And you could literally hear the best salesperson give their pitch and you could hear them. Or a sales manager would come tap you on the shoulder and say, hey, you're doing something wrong, in the moment correction. And that no longer exists. Most teams today, unless you don't want to have employees, are distributed and remote. And the way a sales floor needs to be run has fundamentally changed because the way people learn and the way people train is different. So yes, if you ask me, is 84% of sales training? If it is, one time and expected people to retain information and change behavior, yes, it is a waste. It must be done different.
I agree with that. And I'm going to use, one of my mentors has convinced me that you need to start with outputs first instead of inputs. What do I mean by that? Well, I'll use the CrossFit example, right? If the New York City Marathon is on Saturday or Sunday, it's this weekend. Training for that, if you've never run before, do you start marathon prep or do you figure out how far you can run and how fast and get a baseline? So in order to change something, change a behavior, you have to measure it. What training doesn't do is it starts with inputs first. We want you to do this thing, we want you to do this thing, and they forget about what it is they're trying to measure. So they measure the completion of the training like an LMS does. You check this box, you did this, without measuring, did this have an impact on behavior and outcomes? If the answer to that is no, then that would make a lot of sense. I would wager that about 84% of the time or whatever, no impact on the outcome, on behavior. But if it does have an impact, and the only way to get it to have an impact is to do it real time in the moment, as you're saying with the bullpens and sales enablement 1.0, that requires a different type of hands-on training. Ooh, and we knocked
that was good.
Hard.
So sales to wrap it up, sales enablement 2.0. You must start with measurement, so you know how to put the inputs. Let's move to the next topic. This is a big one. Atlassian just spent $610 million on the Arc browser, one of the most popular browsers. And it's a Chromium. 610 is essentially $1 billion in my mind. There's no difference between the two, even though it's
pretty close.
Their thesis: why did they do this? The browser is where work happens now, meaning that is nobody wants to switch tabs, and where work happens or where people are because you're fully remote. The question: is it true, or is this just another tech fad disguised as a revolution? Desktop apps versus browser first. Choose your fighter. What do you think, Rob?
This is good money spent. Yes, it's browser first, and I say that as somebody biased. I'm not going to point to our logo in the background or the shirt or the hats that we're wearing, but we're a Chrome extension, and that's 100% true. Browser first is the new way. People are very uppity about this, and this is more kind of related to the downfall of SEO and Google search just being an ad, a very, what's the word I'm looking for? It's vulture. I get zero results from this at all. But what a Chrome extension does, or what browser does, is remember the context and the different stuff that I do. So if they're putting cues and context there, and they're angling their user experience or their experience of the user through the lens of the browser, I think that's the way it's moving. I don't think OpenAI would have come out with their own browser. I forgot what it's called recently as well. It's Atlas. Whatever the hell it's called, this is the way to go. Chrome extensions and plugins and the way people use browsers has been the way for a long time. And that's why Google worked. That's why their business model for ads works so well. It's just not the same anymore when you have an LLM or AI as a counterpoint. But I think this was a good move by Atlassian.
I think the thesis is correct. I don't think it's necessarily a good move. So there is about to be a new war, and it's going to be the war, and the front of that war is going to be which browsers are used. In the past, it was a war between Edge, if you remember, Netspace, and Google Chrome, and then you have Safari. God bless Safari and Apple. You have these browser wars, and this browser war is nothing new. It's been fought before, and it's who can bring the most value to the people that have questions. And we're not going to stop asking questions. The point is, where does the question start? So when you have people executing on this, especially in what's changed, we're all remote and we're all distributed. Whoever owns the UI of where the question is will own the user interface and the user's wallet share. Good purchase, good bet. Chrome's going to win, and that's where our money is at the end of the day.
I think you're right. Good purchase, good bet. Whoever owns the interface for answering questions wins. That's a hot line, buddy. Next topic. I don't even want to ask this because I feel like you're about to explode through your computer screen. Do sales reps need AI, or do they need better process? Everyone's launching AI sales. There's literally an AI layer for everything, not as much of a process layer, but we'll get to that. Sumble raised $38.5 million, basically $1 billion in your mind. Zoom Info has Copilot. Google has Gemini. Gong has AI everything. But here's the question nobody's asking: do reps need better AI, or do they just need to follow the process they already have?
We have this belief, and I think there's an illusion of simplicity around AI. And the illusion of simplicity means I can have an input layer that I ask a question and it will give me an answer, or I can tell it to do something and it will do it for me. And that's the promise of AI. It feels really good at the individual level. I can change. I can even make topics for a show like this. It is very difficult to do that at the business layer. And so we talk about all these sales tools for AI. Is what it doesn't understand is the human advantage is where people will win in the sales process. People want less AI, they're going to want more human. So the question is, how are you going to add the human advantage into your process? And you will not know what is the human advantage until you're measuring what is working and not working. It very well may be your sales reps need to listen to the call, digest it and send a recap email, and should not be done by AI. It should be done through a sales. I think all these people building AI are built on the premise of really good marketing AI and not really good sales AI. And everybody should be measuring first, then input second. And it's just it blows my mind. And I'm gonna make a lot of money answering outputs first, measuring first.
Yeah, I almost view this in a weird metaphor of like the American political system, right, with the checks and balances. I view AI as very much as the legislative branch. It creates a bunch of stuff, right? But it is the question is more of like, how do you ensure that what you're doing with your process is being actually followed and enforced? Is it right? So the judicial and executive, is this right or wrong, and is this being enforced? Those two. AI will not win in. Now, can you write a 10,000 page blog in 10 seconds? Sure. Can you throw spaghetti at a wall and have something come out? You can do that. But it's, number one, very individualized. So the uses for them don't scale as well. And that's why you've seen stuff like MIT's study that says 95% of AI implementations fail. They don't fail for the individual. I love Claude, right? It works pretty well for me, and it gets a lot of stuff done, and it increases the speed at which I'm able to ideate. But your Claude and mine would have different outcomes. And so the enforcement, like the process layer, as you say, doesn't exist yet. And that's what people need to bet on. By the way, we're halfway done. Switch.
Okay, go to next topic. This is a good one. I hate this. There are a few 3-letter words that we must not say. One of them is what I'm about to say. The LMS market is worth $5.23 billion, which is less than Elon Musk's net worth, by the way, just as a point. Companies are spending millions on platforms that track course completion, while reps forget, as we talked about before, 84% of what they learn. Is the LMS the problem, or are we just using it wrong?
So LMS, I believe, stands for look, ma, shit. I think I could be wrong there. Maybe it's learning management system, whatever it is, right? The thing that's wrong with LMSs are that people only learn how to circumvent the learning process, right? They're usually not in the flow of learning. They're usually only intended to check I love HR people, but it's usually intended for that. The most forgettable and regrettable ones are they're the same, like sexual, like all of that. That's just, why do I have to do this? This is not, the situations like this would never arise. And that's an egregious example. And I'm sure there are outliers, but you're basing your training and behavior change tool on outlying cases and not actually getting results and to change the behavior. If you put one of those courses in front of somebody that is a habitual offender of very egregious things or commonplace, like not sending a recap, right, or not doing this thing in a sales process, the results vary, but they're usually only getting people to check a box, as this prompt said, or to figure out a way around the process that's been put in place. And I know you're about to destroy this, so go ahead.
LMSs are good at things. I want to be clear. LMSs are good at things. It's really good at CYA for corporate entities, where I can say I have given trainings, thus you can't sue me. And that's a very effective, useful. I would pay money for people not to sue me. It's, you have taken this course, thus you should not sexually assault somebody. It's not my fault, it's your fault. It's getting rid of excuses. Very effective. That's not behavior change, that is CYA. And I think that's a useful protecting corporates. Number 2 for LMSs is it's very useful when you have 4 years to learn something. LMSs, when you give people content and you can discuss it in live classrooms for education, like LMS platforms are very effective because they're always added with long-term projects where you're learning something in depth. So LMSs are effective. Where they're not effective is in B2B businesses trying to teach people specific behaviors and a process to be followed. I think the LMS system and specifically in the sales context, there is a ripe time to change. The big idea, by the way, of this is I can serve the content at the right moment, at the right time, exactly when they need it, and curated for them. That just doesn't matter unless you measure what's actually happening. Following process matters more in business. than trying to teach them the right thing at the right moment, because you don't know what the right moment is unless you measure it. It's a catch-22. So there will be
you're a CEO and multi-time founder, right? And I asked you this earlier. Do you care more about the individual performance and progression, or do you care more about the bottom line and the outcomes?
Yeah, and people don't like the answer. The answer is I do what is best for the company, and that is my purview. And that ends with, and will always ends with, bottom line of the company. So my job is to change behaviors with the least amount of effort, and getting LMS is not the least amount of effort, and actually it may not even be effective at all.
Well, the final word here is I think they'd be more effective if what the intended outcome was, instead of a learning management system, it was a results management system. Thus, the training and it would look at outputs first and measurement, and thus change results based on that. That's a $1 billion industry waiting to happen, but we'll save that for next episode. I think this might be our close to final topic. Should sales reps, here's one, be required to use AI tools? Some companies are mandating AI tool usage. You will use Copilot. You will be AI native. You will use Gong. You will automate. Others say, let them choose their own tools. Pick your poison. Why not? Who's right? Can you force innovation and, I guess, AI adoption, AI tool adoption, or does mandate kill adoption? You're up.
Adoption of anything, the first step is measuring and holding someone accountable to doing it. So if the question is it right or wrong to hold people accountable? I would say, yes, you need to hold people accountable. Yeah. Do you think that's going to be a competitive advantage? If you think it's going to be a competitive advantage, measure and say, have you done it? I'm totally for people holding people accountable for what you think is going to be in the future. I'm totally for mandating, as long as it's a mandate with accountability and you hire and fire by it. Two, if you do not hire and fire by a mandate, it's not a mandate, and you destroy culture. So number one, you must measure, and it always comes back to this: adoption will not occur unless the output of what you want to happen is measured.
Yeah, I have this note from an earlier conversation that I had, which is it seems to be very much chicken or the egg, but there's a right answer, right? Standardizing outcomes is more important than standardizing behaviors. So I kind of take the middle of the fence here. I agree with you, where if you're going to do it and it's more of an accountability question, sure, go ahead. But I would say if you're going to try to figure out if it's effective and helpful, you should run it across your entire team or the entire function, rather than let people go rogue and be individually accountable, right? If you're trying to standardize outcomes and really test it across a team or multiple teams, then you should do it on a holistic basis, not just let one or two reps test AI and one or two reps not deal with it at all.
If the question was how to do it, which is a different question to me, my recommendation would be, if you don't have, then step number one is have a hypothesis based on the process you think will give you the best outcome, measure that process, and then tell reps, however you want to execute that process, do it. But here's the process, and here's how I'm measuring you. And it could be it could be no AI or good AI. And you never know what's going to happen. Maybe the best rep is the one that didn't use AI at all.
A hypothesis. You're not using science on me, are you? If then, and then you actually get results.
This isn't a topic we'll finish here. In World War II, they did this giant analysis of planes, and they were trying to figure out what were the planes that were least likely to
return home.
Back and return home. And what do you do if you do that? What do you look at? You're like, oh, let's look at all the planes that returned home. And they would look at where the bullet holes were, and they're like, wow, we should really fix these bullet holes. They almost didn't come home because of these things. And so they fixed the bullet holes. And the whole point of this is that that actually shows where you were effective. And so it's really important that you have one standard. And what they actually did, they found, and this is a data scientist afterwards, like, hey, we did this wrong. What we need to do is go look at everything that crashed and find out what actually happened. And we cannot do it. This is changing. We can't, if your outcome, the thing you're measuring is everybody that comes home, you will come to the wrong conclusion. You must look at, let me see every rep that was sent out, that was flying a plane. Here is what they went and did. And now let's find where the holes are, not just the ones that came back. That's what we do often. And that's what we think our inputs are based on.
I've seen this story multiple times just as an error omission or for me to get more clear. They were looking at that of the planes that returned home and then bolstering where the bullet holes were. What somebody individually deduced was that you don't need the spots where we don't see any bullet holes at all means that plane was crashed.
Yeah.
So we need to put reinforcements here. It was like the fuselage, a couple places like on the wing, but those were the places that are critical areas. If you're struck by a bullet there, you're not going to make it back at all.
So because they weren't measuring the ones that didn't come back, they led them to a false analysis. Their inputs were wrong, and that was the conclusion. Was, oh crap, we need to actually have a proxy to think about why people weren't coming, which is what Rob said.
Shout out to you, Plane Doctor. You really saved our ass on that one by thinking critically. Last topic. Should sales managers, I don't even understand this, but it's what we got. Should sales managers be required to get certified in coaching? RAIN Group's research shows coaching is the #1 predictor of training effectiveness, yet most managers are promoted from top rep to manager with 0 coaching training. Should we require certification? Or is that just more bureaucracy, more in the LMS vein? You're up.
Certificate. Sorry, I'm flabbergasted that that's something that someone think about. The act of coaching is saying, here's what you should be doing, here's what you are doing, and here is the distance between the two. It's putting a mirror in front of someone. That's the act of coaching. We are beating this horse dead. How do you put a mirror in front of somebody? You measure their actions, and all you do is say, is this who you want to become? Because this is what you're doing, and you will become this thing if you aren't doing it. And you could take that analogy, you could put it towards, hey, I want to be a good writer. Okay, well, you don't journal and you don't spend any time reading books. So do you really want to become a good writer? I want to be a good rep. Well, you don't prospect and you don't send emails and you don't send Loom videos and you don't have anything authentic and you don't.
And your pipeline's not updated. Look, I'll interrupt because we have 50 seconds left. We're trying to keep the pardon the POV format here. Bill Parcells and Tom Coughlin both. I listen to a morning sports show every day, and Chris Canty on their Super Bowl champion for the Giants. He said that the greatest thing he ever learned from those two coaches in his career, like on the edge of Hall of Famer, was that great coaches show and get good men to do things they don't want to do in order to become great men. And I think that's applicable in almost anything. You want to become a great guitarist? Sure. Do you really? Because here's what you've been doing towards that outcome, which is not training, not practicing for an hour a day, not doing scales, not learning theory, none of that. Do you want to be good at sales, to your point? Well, yeah. Actually, you're not doing any of those things, or here's where the gaps are. So you start with like the desired outcome as being proficient or an expert or a virtuoso or whatever it might be, and help the people that are becoming fill in those gaps appropriately so that the outcome is more towards what they want.
So no, you don't need a certification. You need some really quick way to know, to measure and find out, are you doing what you want to do? And do you think you're going where you want to go? And so that would be my answer. No certifications needed, better tooling's needed if you need more coaching.
I couldn't agree more. And we are officially out of time. Shout out to the Dodgers for winning an 18-inning marathon last night. Did you happen to catch any of that?
I don't watch sports games, Robert.
You didn't even have to answer. I know that. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time on Pardon the POV. I'm Rob. He's Bolo. And I guess the pre-workout hadn't kicked in quite yet, but we'll see you next time.
Adios.
BSTN.